Welcome to This Explainer. So, right now, the Argentina national football team is navigating an absolutely terrifying reality. Think about it. They're the reigning World Cup champions, they've built this incredibly dominant winning culture, and yet there's this palpable, impending dread just hanging over the entire country. For nearly 2 decades, they've relied on one solitary genius to basically carry the weight of a nation. But what happens when the architect of your entire golden era finally steps away? Today, we're breaking down the impossible problem of Argentina's post-Messi future. Honestly, even if you aren't an Argentina fan, what we're looking at here is a masterclass in the seemingly impossible task of succession planning.
Let's kick things off with a number that honestly should terrify every single Argentina fan right now: 8. Looking at the raw data from their recent World Cup run, this is exactly how many goals were scored by one single 39-year-old man. Now, it's a massive testament to his enduring greatness, absolutely. But when you zoom out and look at the broader context of building a sustainable footballing powerhouse, that single digit becomes incredibly alarming.
To really grasp the undeniable weight of their current reality, you have to contrast that previous number with this one: 14. That is the total number of goals scored by the entire team at the tournament. Do the math, and it means more than half of their entire attacking output is still resting squarely on the shoulders of Lionel Messi. It's this total offensive monopoly, and it simply cannot last forever.
And the underlying data totally backs this up. His expected goals, which is basically a metric showing the sheer quality of scoring chances a player gets on the end of, sat at 4.51. That was literally the highest of any player in the entire tournament. It's an incredible individual feat to be generating that volume of high-quality chances. But, for a country looking toward the future, it's a massive red flag.
Section 1. The Messi Dependency.
It's honestly staggering to realize that one single player produces 57% of a championship team's goals. But here's the thing. As we analyze the broader roster, this is actually a survivable problem. With proven, relentless finishers like Lautaro Martinez and Julian Alvarez waiting in the wings, replacing the sheer volume of goals is a puzzle they can theoretically solve. They absolutely have the firepower to put the ball in the net when the time comes.
The real issue, though, the dependency goes way, way deeper than just putting the ball in the back of the net. It's about chance creation. Just recently, Messi completed over 5 dribbles and created over 5 open play chances in a single match. You want to know the last Argentine player to produce a night that complete in a World Cup game? Diego Maradona back in 1986. Messi isn't just the finish, he's the pass before the finish. Replacing that dual threat is where the true nightmare begins.
Section 2. The 5 impossible problems.
Because replacing him isn't just one isolated problem, it's a massive multi-layered crisis. As we discussed, problem 1, the goals, and problem 2, the creation, are really difficult, but they are solvable, mostly thanks to elite midfield talent like Enzo Fernandez, who can step up and help shoulder that creative load. But problems 3, 4, and 5, those pose an existential threat to this team's entire winning culture. Let's dig into exactly why these last 3 are so difficult to overcome.
Let's tackle problem number 3, the transition. Look, the age math here is just brutal. 17 of the 26 players on their recent roster were world champions in 2022. Now that continuity is a huge strength for sure, but it's also a cage. Only 3 players are under 25. Rebuilding a team is always difficult, but it's incredibly hard to tear down and rebuild champions while tomorrow quietly runs out. You're essentially trying to fix an airplane while it's still flying at 30,000 feet.
Then we have problem 4, which we'll call the rescue habit. Get this. 8 of their World Cup goals were scored in the 76th minute or later. Argentina continually lives on these late miracles, and the rescuer is almost always number 10. The fundamental issue here is that you can coach tactical patterns all day long. You can drill defensive structure until you're blue in the face, but you cannot manufacture a rescuer. You either have one or you don't.
Which brings us to the crucial point, the final, completely impossible problem, the fear. When Messi gets the ball, defenders literally abandon their shape in an absolute panic. Goalkeepers are beaten in their own heads before a free kick is even taken. This psychological fear that he instills in opponents cannot be bought, and it definitely cannot be replaced. It simply leaves with them. You just can't teach an opponent to be terrified of a system the way they are terrified of a ghost.
Section 3. Scaloni's Master Plan.
Okay, it's not all impending doom. Let's look at the hope on the horizon. Manager Lionel Scaloni's journey is absolutely remarkable. As this scathing quote from Diego Maradona shows, literally nobody believed in him. He started as an interim manager with a completely blank CV, inheriting a highly toxic, broken squad back in 2018. But he put his head down, he ignored the noise, and he proved his legendary doubters completely wrong by building a resilient, highly modern footballing machine.
And there is statistical proof that should really ease the tension for fans. When Messi hasn't been on the pitch under Scaloni, the team's record over 17 matches is 13 wins, 3 draws, and only a single loss. This brilliantly illustrates that the collective machine Scaloni has built can actually thrive and dominate, even without its central figure. The foundation is strong enough to hold up the house, even when the chandelier is removed.
Section 4. The New Vanguard.
Out on the pitch, we're witnessing a massive tactical evolution. We're essentially moving from the artist, meaning Messi, with his introverted, highly instinctive individual brilliance, to the spider, Julian Alvarez. Alvarez represents this relentless, modern, high-energy pressing system. It shows how the future of this team relies on collective intensity and tactical versatility, rather than just waiting around for individual magic to save the day. From now on, they hunt as a pack.
Of course, passing the torch also means finding completely new leadership in the locker room. As Argentine legend Javier Saviola notes, Leandro Paredes has the personality and the grit to potentially take the captain's armband. They need strong, highly vocal leaders who are totally unafraid of the spotlight to maintain that winning culture. It's about finding the emotional successors just as much as the tactical ones.
And you can see this incredible hunger in the young core. Take Enzo Fernandez, who broke out in 2022. He's openly dreaming of that leadership role. These players aren't shying away from the massive pressure of leading a billion-dollar sports entity. They're embracing the challenge head-on. They know exactly what jersey they're wearing and the immense expectations that come with the territory.
We also have to touch on teenage talents like Franco Mastantuono and Alejandro Garnacho. Mastantuono's exceptional control and balance, combined with Garnacho's electric pace on the wing, perfectly fit the team-focused, highly dynamic approach of this new era. The youth pipeline is still producing elite talent that can slot right into Scaloni's demanding system, proving the talent well definitely hasn't run dry.
Section 5. Life after the legend. I really want you to take away this absolute final point as we transition away from the legend. Another Messi is not coming. Not for Argentina, not for anyone. The goal for this next era isn't finding a one-to-one replacement for him, because that's impossible. The goal is building a culture founded on strict tactical patterns and collective strength, rather than relying on one man's sheer imagination to bail them out in the 79th minute. The system itself has to become the superstar.
And that leaves us with one final, incredibly powerful question. Can Argentina truly unlearn a 20-year habit of being safe? Can they forge a brand new identity while the whole world watches? Take a moment to think about that, and let us know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and keep learning.